Watching TV has changed over time. Streaming has become the new norm. That's why Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast dives headfirst to the world of cord cutting. Want to be on the loop of what's hot in Netflix? Or if it's not a preference, what about original shows in Hulu? We've got you covered. Join us as we fill in the blanks and talk about movies to stream and what show you should be binging. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast.
Greetings, good people of the planet Earth and the known universe. You're listening to GSMC's Television Podcast. This is your Captain Keith. Hello, good people of the planet Earth and the known universe. Hope all is well with everyone out there. This fine universe, this fine planet that we call Earth. Third star from the sun, all that good stuff. Today we're doing the best of television from 2018 part 2. So yeah, folks, I watched a lot of TV last year. Which was what I guess you could say terrestrial television and streaming television, a little bit of both. It was everywhere. Yeah. So I want to share with you my favorite picks of last year because most of the stuff that I reviewed I enjoyed. So I think I enjoyed like all of it. I think. Yeah, I have to think about that. Well, anyway, while I'm thinking about that, let's get to it. So the first show I want to talk about for part 2, this second installment, is an Amazon Prime original show series called Absentia, and it stars Stana Katic. Yes, folks, Stana Katic. If I'm saying her name right, I pray that I am. From Castle fame. Okay, so let me tell you, I don't usually watch cop shows, police, because they bore me. They're formulaic and it's just the same old. And plus, I don't like shows that are always about murder. So unless you have to have a good twist on it, you have to, in order to keep my attention, there's got to be a lot of things going on. Loved Castle. I still need to watch that last season. Love it. Castle was amazing. Stana Katic and Nathan Fillion had great chemistry, at least on set, on film. So in regards to what happened behind closed doors, I don't know, but I enjoyed that show. She was amazing. yeah. So was he, but yeah, I'm a little partial to her. I'm not going to even lie. Anyway, so imagine my delightful surprise when I saw that she did a Amazon Prime original TV series. So far that's just the first season. I have to double check to make sure we're going to get a second season because, yeah, we really need to. So she's the star of this show, and I believe she's also a producer on this original scripted series. So here's how it goes. After being declared dead in absentia, an FBI agent must reclaim her family, identity, and innocence when she finds herself the prime suspect in a string of murders. So she went after this one suspect, and that basically, she winds up disappearing for years, and everyone thinks she's dead. And she leaves behind a husband and a baby boy. And she gets found years later, and her son doesn't really recognize her. And her husband has basically remarried because he thought that she was dead. And her husband was an FBI agent, just like she was or is. So I mean, that's how the show starts. I mean, it's excellent. I really enjoyed this series because the person who she thinks the prime suspect in these murders that she was investigating, he's still alive, and she's wondering if he's the one who had her kidnapped. So more murders happen, and they think it's the original suspect. And now, what I didn't mention, so basically how she gets found, the original suspect in her original murder case, makes a phone call to her husband and tells him where the body is. Where to find her. So that's how, and then when they find her, she's been encased like in this water, this huge giant water tank. Like, she's about to drown inside. So they find her just in time to get her out of there. And you find out that she's been like held captive for years and tortured and she never saw the face of her tormentor. But she thinks that, it's the main suspect. So Santa Canic's character, her name is Emily Byrne, and her husband's name is Jack Byrne, played by Neil Jackson. Oh no, excuse me, that's her brother. Neil Jackson is her brother. And he's a character to watch on this show. Let's see. Okay, so her name is Emily Byrne, but her married name is Durand. Her husband is Nick Durand, played by Patrick Hausinger. So like I said, he got remarried, and his new wife is helping him with he and Emily's son. So can you imagine being happily married, having a good job, but this one case you can't solve, and that one case winds up being basically the reason why you've disappeared. Everyone thinks you're dead. You've been gone for years. Your brother has become like an alcoholic, and your father is just sad. So you get back to the real world, and the guy that you love is with somebody else, and your son doesn't even know you because you disappeared when he was a baby. And he's closer to his stepmom, who he thinks is his real mom for the most part. So, that's the dynamic that they give you when you watch the show. And you're like, and you feel for Emily's character. For Emily Byrne, you feel for her because, she's shell-shocked. She got PTSD. She was tortured and drowned and, tortured and dunked in water and beaten and without ever knowing who was holding her captive. That's like a living hell, basically. So, and then the guy who she thinks is the killer, Conrad Harlow, played by Richard Brake, they can't put anything on him. They can't pin anything on him. So that makes it interesting. And he looks creepy when you see him. And he does wind up having a meeting with Emily, although she's been told to stay away from him. And eventually what it starts to happen throughout the series, her husband, Nick, he doesn't know what to really say to Emily. And, she's upset because she can't connect with her son. And she doesn't know if she doesn't know if she ever will be able to, if it'll ever happen. And while all that's going on, Emily trying to adjust to how the world is now, new president, your husband's got a wife, your son's a lot older now, and you find out that your brother's life kind of just slid down. He wanted to become an alcoholic. And then, there's tension between her brother and her because, we'll just say that he feels like she's the favorite to his dad. So, but then you kind of wonder because there's different things you find out about the brother, and his life is not what it seems. But what happens throughout the story is that Emily winds up getting framed for some murders, old and new. And it's looking real bad. So, the police wind up looking for her. And the FBI. And she's an FBI agent. So they're like, so the narrative is changing. And it's just kind of fascinating that that's happening. It really is. Because I didn't know the case was going to go that route. And then she's having flashback scenes. And, she's shell-shocked. She's got PTSD. So, she's not in the most trusting place. All she knows is that she still loves her husband and her son. And she can't be with them. And she's frustrated because she's the outsider. But, You can't imagine. I can't imagine having a child and then being gone and then coming back and my child not recognizing me. That's just got to be horrible. And Stana Katic plays this role very well. She does a great job. Her character is very, very fascinating. She's tough. She's headstrong, and she's on a mission to prove her innocence, basically. And then the question is, will her husband, does he believe her? Does he want her back? Because now everything's all complicated. Because now he's married to Alice, played by Cara Theobald, and she's a great stepmom, but she's basically like their son's mom, because that's all he knows. Because Emily disappeared when he was a baby, so that's going on. So Emily can't really hate Alice because she's taking care of her son, and she seems to be a good fit and a good husband. A good wife to her husband. It's all twisted. And then, like I said, there's family turmoil between Emily and her brother. So you don't know if that gets resolved. And Richard, Conrad Harlow, did he kill all these people that she thinks he killed? Did he have her kidnapped? Or was it someone else? What's going on with that? So the story, this TV series is filled with intrigue and mystery, and it's dark, and it's very riveting. It's great to watch. It really is, and I'm looking forward to season 7 happening. So I really am. Let's see. Just gotta find out when. Let's see. So it looks like it's been renewed, but I don't have a date. Let me see if I can find a date real quick while we're talking. But this is an Amazon Prime original series called Absentia, and it's Stana Katic, formerly of Castle TV fame. She does a great job. This character is very different than Beckett on Castle. She does a great job. So, all right. So it did get renewed. They renewed it in this last September for the green light. All right. Let me see. I don't want to add. I just want to see the rest of the news. Oh, curses. Although they're showing me an ad for Mr. Rogers' documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor, which is an excellent film. I saw it in the theater. All right, so Absentia, let's see. It will debut this year in the U.S., of course. But it's also going to be for Amazon Prime. They'll also show it in Australia, Austria, Germany, India, Israel, Italy, Netherlands, Singapore, South Korea, Turkey, and the UK. So they're filming the show in Bulgaria, Sofia, Bulgaria. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. All right, cool. Yeah, so Emily Byrne was gone for 6 years. Her life was just gone. And I forgot to mention that she doesn't remember what happened. So she gets flashbacks here and there. Let's see. So yeah, so this is going to be cool. So it looks like in season 2, says that Emily struggles for a tenuous new normal with son Flynn and ex-husband Nick, but her obsessive investigation into the questions that haunt her uncovers a serial killer and a spiraling conspiracy that threatens more than just her family. So that'll be season 2. But no one told us when we're going to get season 2. And that's just frustrating. But sometime this year, let's see. And it should be 10 episodes. Let's see. So when I get more information, I'll let you folks know. And we'll be back with more Best of Television 2018 after this break.
Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
And once again, you're listening to GSMC's television podcast. This is your Captain Keith. And we're going to talk about another original Amazon Prime television series called 10 Star. So this is starring Tim Roth. This is an excellent series. It is created by Rowan Joffe, or Joff, Joffe. And this is a Sky original production. Tim Roth plays former London Metropolitan Police undercover detective Jim Worth, who's now relocated as a Canadian police chief in Little Big Bear. Christina Hendricks plays North Stream Oil PR Elizabeth Bradshaw. She's the questionable oil executive. Genevieve O'Reilly plays Jim's wife, Angela Worth, and Abigail Lowry plays his daughter, Anna Worth. So now, what's interesting about this series is that, once again, Jim plays a guy who used to be an undercover detective in London. He relocated to start his life over again as Canadian police chief. So, he's a family man. Everything seems to be fine in this small town that he's the sheriff of. But here's the thing. So, you move to a whole new country to have a whole brand new start with your family, working in a small town. Because if you're not undercover, if you're a small sheriff, then you're not getting a whole lot of action. But the first episode of this show just went hard. It just went hardcore in the sense that when I say hardcore, I mean it was very intense. A lot of action, and it's just one of the opening scenes where I was just like, whoa, my mouth just dropped to the floor. So, the sheriff's life, he thought he moved away and he was going to live in a nice, small, quiet town and be happy, and he was. But you find out when you watch 10 Star that small towns can do a little bit too much as well. And, when trouble comes, it comes. And the first episode was so raw and unexpected what happened. Very unexpected. But once a certain situation happens, no one's ever the same. I'll say that. So... But the first season was amazing. You watch things happen to Jim that were kind of they happened that he didn't anticipate, and it just leaves him spiraling out of control. His family is starting to fall apart. His daughter is becoming rebellious, and he's not able really to talk to his wife. And the people who look up to him as sheriff are looking sideways at him because, let's just say, he starts taking twists and turns that he usually wouldn't have taken, but because things were out of it, something happened that was out of his control, it just kind of altered his whole course. But now what I've enjoyed with this show is the characters, the ensemble cast is amazing. Christina Hendricks is Elizabeth Bradshaw. She's kind of like the evil oil executive who comes to town. She's great. Oliver Cooper Smith, who plays Whitey, definitely want to encourage everyone to watch that character. A very riveting character. And let's see. Louis Gagnon, played by Christopher Heyerdahl. He's the evil old executive who comes to town. He's off the hook. So with 10 Star, there's plenty of bad guys in this show. And if you're just one sheriff and you have a small deputy squad, how do you handle all this stuff? And how do you stop yourself from spiraling out of control because you're seeing your family fall apart? And I want to tell you so bad why his family starts to fall apart, but I just can't. But when you watch the first episode of 10 Star, you'll understand why I say what I'm saying. What I really like about this show is definitely the acting cast. So my first exposure to Tim Roth was Pulp Fiction, where he's the robber in the diner, Pumpkin and Honey Bunny. And I've seen him. He was also in The Hoodlum with Lawrence Fishburne and Andy Garcia. He's a great actor. I like him a lot. And he really gets to show his acting chops in this role. So watching him try to pull it all together while unraveling at the same time is just amazing to watch. Very compelling. His performance as Jim Worth, the sheriff, check that out. You get some background story. You get some flashback scenes and stuff. There's the web that's weaved is really tangled in here. I'd also say that Oliver Cooper Smith as Whitey, he's great to watch. He stands out, and definitely, where is he? Christopher Heyerdahl, who plays Louis Gagnon, who's the evil oil executive. Oh man, he almost steals the show. Yeah, so the acting in this is great. Really like it. Let's see. Genevieve O'Reilly, who plays Jim's wife, does a great job too. She's this Irish woman married to this Englishman. Such a taboo thing. Ooh, they kind of make light of that in the show. Excellent show. Very dark and gritty, and it's dark from the first episode. And let me warn you, it's dark and gritty from the first episode. But because I never saw a TV series do that to me in the first episode, I couldn't stop watching. They knew how to pull me right in. So this is the Amazon Prime original TV series. Looking forward to getting season 2. Very excited about that. It's been approved for season 2. So Jim Worth has a secret. I can tell you that much. See, because if you haven't seen the first season, Jim Worth has the secret that'll blow your mind when you see it. And it makes the show even more fun to watch as he descends into more darkness. Yeah, Tim Roth should get an Emmy and a Golden Globe for this. He did an excellent job. He did his thing. Very, very impressed with him in this role. Forgot how great he is of an actor. Definitely. So 10 Star, excellent show. Check it out. It's Amazon Prime original series. Season 2 we'll get it this year, and I can't wait. But like I said, the first episode, I was just like, what? Like, oh, okay, this is different. Yeah, they go for the jugular in the first episode. So I just wanted to tell you guys that. So you definitely want to watch it. Another TV show that I enjoyed last year, Lost in Space, Netflix original. They redid the classic sci-fi series from the 50s and 60s. And this was amazing. I was like, Lost in Space? What? Let me see what you guys know about Lost in Space and Dr. Smith. You don't know nothing about that. And then I watched it. I remember the remake movie with Gary Oldman as Dr. Smith and Matt LeBlanc. I liked that movie. I did. It was fun. I was surprised they didn't do any more. And Gary Oldman did a great job as Dr. Smith. So let's give you the synopsis. After crash landing on an alien planet, the Robinson family fight against all odds to survive and escape, but they're surrounded by hidden dangers. So Molly Parker stars in this, Toby Stevens, Maxwell Jenkins. And Molly Parker plays Maureen Robinson. Does a great job. She was also a regular on the House of Cards in the earlier seasons. So Toby Stevens plays John Robinson. Let's see. Who of course is the husband. And Maxwell Jenkins plays Will Robinson. And he does a great job. He's adorable. Does a real good job. Taylor Russell plays Judy Robinson. Now, okay. So I want to talk about this. So basically, the show is very similar to the original series, but there's some distinct differences that kind of threw me off for a second because I wasn't anticipating it. And I still don't know why they did that with the casting. But I enjoyed the show. I felt like they would have went. I felt like they made a progressive move to me that was only halfway progressive, as far as I'm concerned. And I'll explain to you what I mean. So Judy Robinson is the oldest child, played by Taylor Russell, and then the second oldest is Penny Robinson, played by Mina Sunwall. And she's got the classic red hair. And of course, Will's the only boy and he's the youngest. So now, here's what threw me off. So, Judy Robinson, played by Taylor Russell, she's the oldest. But when you see Judy, so Judy is black and the Robinsons are all white. So when I first saw her, I'm like, okay, is she adopted? What am I missing? And then you find out eventually that she's not adopted. Well, kind of. She is Maureen Robinson's oldest child. And Will fell in love with Maureen. John Robinson fell in love with Maureen and married her. And he adopted Judy as his daughter. So apparently Judy has a black father. I don't know if he's supposed to be a deadbeat or never knew about her. So I have kind of mixed feelings about that aspect of the series. Now, why did you write that character that way? Because I'm like, if I'm going to make Judy Robinson black, I'm just going to make the whole family black if that be the case. So she's this, overachieving eldest daughter who's also a scientist like her mom and dad. And so she's apparently biracial. And the girl playing the cast does look biracial, but yeah, it was just kind of strange when you watch the first episode and you see this is the daughter. I'm like, is she supposed to be adopted? But no, she's her biological daughter. And John Robinson, like I said, he adopted her. So I'm like, okay, so what happened that Maureen Robinson, she get pregnant by this black guy who just decided he didn't want to be a father? Does he even know? I can't remember that part of the storyline. But that was the only thing that threw me for a loop, and I have mixed feelings on that because I felt like that was a progressive move. But I would have just made, if I was going to go that route, I would have went full tilt and just made the whole family black then and call them the Robinsons. If you're going to do all that, I'm still not sure where why that was done. But she does a good job. I mean, the acting is great, the family is great. What's interesting, what you see in this series that you didn't see in the original series, there's tension between Maureen and John. Looks like John's been gone for a while, and he finally reconnected with his family on this trip. And it's looking like Maureen and John, all is not good in paradise. They're not a happy married couple. Like on the iconic TV series, the Robinsons were like the Cleavers in space. Very loving, very doting, very devoted to each other. You don't get that in this first season. So there's definitely tension, and the kids pick up on it. Now, what was amazing, now the progressive move they made that I did like completely, I wasn't sure until it popped up, is Dr. Smith is played by indie film queen Parker Posey. And man, does she deliver. She steals the show. So Parker Posey as Dr. Smith and Maxwell Jenkins as Little Will Robinson, they steal the show. They do a great job. Everyone does a great job. But Ignacio Cerricio plays Don West, the classic handsome pilot who winds up, I believe, I can't remember if he starts dating Penny or Judy, but he dates one of the Robinson girls. I think he winds up dating Judy in the classic series. So Ignacio Cerricio, he does a good job playing Don West. So I did like him. So he steals the show. So, yeah, Ignacio Cerricio playing Don West, Maxwell Jenkins as Will Robinson, and Parker Posey as Dr. Smith. Yeah, Parker Posey is, and you thought the original Dr. Smith was evil. Wait till you see Parker Posey. Wow. Wow. I'm excited for the second season. I can't wait to see what happens next. I really enjoyed it. There were some great iconic moments. Will Robinson does bond with the robot. You see the robot, he's upgraded, and you get the Danger Will Robinson, the classic, iconic line from that TV series. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. You get to hear that at least once or twice. This take on the show is great. It's different. It's different on all different cylinders. So it just took a little getting used to some of it. That was just like I said, the whole Judy Robinson with Taylor Russell thing that threw me. But outside of that, I enjoy the show. And then Penny Robinson, she's the younger sister, so she's like kind of stuck in her big sister's shadow. So and then there's Will. He's just the only boy. So it's just, and throughout the series, you see John struggling to reconnect with all of his kids because as an astronaut, he's been gone for a long time, and that's put a strain on his marriage to Maureen. Maureen's been the one holding it down with the kids. And then there's just like politics because, they're on a mission and they got stuck on this planet and they don't know how long they're going to be able to stay on this planet. They're basically, they're lost in space, literally. Their mission has been interrupted and they're trying to survive. And there's a leader, there's more than one leader, and it's just, and there's definitely strong personalities amongst the cast and crew on what should be done. And, Dr. Smith, Parker Posey's playing Dr. Smith. And, if you watch the original, well, let's just say that she's under pressure too. That's all I'm going to say. But I really, really, really enjoyed this first season. It's a delightful surprise. I'm glad they brought this classic series back to television. I'm just curious to see where they go next. And like I said, Parker Posey, I'm just gushing over her as Dr. Smith. She was, I really didn't like her when I watched her on the show. She really made me mad. That's how I know she's doing a great job because she evoked an emotion. I just wanted to shake her and throw her in jail. I really did. But yeah, check her out. More best of television after this break.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
So in regards to, once again, you're listening to Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast. It's your Captain Keith, talking about the best of television in 2018. This is part 2, our second installment. So I'll leave you with this in regards to Lost in Space. So the main thing you got to think about when you watch this series, the questions you have to ask yourself is, okay, so they crashed on this island. on this planet. Why did that happen? Are they going to be able to stay on this planet? Are they going to be able to get their ships up and moving and get back on course to where they're supposed to be going? And what kind of dangers are they going to face? What kind of dangers are they facing on this planet that they never knew about, that they just fell onto? That was never a part of their plan and their course. So is the planet they're on? Is it safe to stay there? Will they be stuck there? Are they going to be able to go and get back on course? Will people find out what's going on with Dr. Smith? Because right now, she's Dr. Smith and everyone loves her, but, she's got an agenda. Will John and Maureen work out their issues as a married couple? And can John hold on to his family? Can he reconnect with everyone? And what is the story behind the robot, and where did he come from? So just all kinds of different questions to ask. And is Don West, he's kind of a smooth talker, Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? What's going on? So those are questions you need to ask yourself. And if you're intrigued, check it out. Lost in Space, Netflix original series. I definitely recommend it. Very cool. So, and then the next show I want to talk about is actually was on NBC. It only lasted for maybe 2 years, I guess. Timeless. I loved this show. It was a very cool show about an unlikely trio travel through time in order to battle unknown criminals and protect history as we know it. It's created by Eric Kripke and Sean Ryan. Eric Kripke is also famous for creating Supernatural, the TV series on CW. So this show stars Abigail Spencer as Lucy Preston and Matt Lanter as Wyatt Logan. I'm familiar with Matt Lanter because he was a star, one of the stars of the remake of 90210. Malcolm Barrett as Rufus Carlin, Patterson Joseph as Connor Mason, Sakina Jaffrey as Denise Christopher, she's great, and Claudia Dumit as Gia, and Goran Visnik as Garcia Flynn, and Annie Wershing as Emma Whitmore. These are all key players. So basically, like I said, a trio has to go back in time to stop this bad guy named Flynn, Garcia Flynn. Garcia Flynn is going back in time, and he's doing this because he's trying to change the course of Earth history. So now the trio who's been nominated to work to use this time machine. So where do we go? So Abigail Spencer, Abigail Spencer plays Lucy Preston. Lucy Preston is a historian, so they need her for the time travel. Wyatt Logan is this great decorated veteran soldier, and Rufus Carlin is the engineer scientist who helped build this time machine with Connor Mason, who was his mentor, played by Patterson Joseph. Denise Christopher is their boss, played by Sakina Jaffrey. She's great, very nice. She's probably like the best government boss I've ever seen, actually, fictionally speaking. I liked her on this show. And Jaya, she also does scientific work and records and data on the time machine. And Garcia Flynn is like the bad guy in season 1, played by Goran Visnik, very charismatic guy. So they go back in time, and they have to deal with issues like Lincoln's assassination and just other things with World War II. And it's a lot of fun to watch them go back. It's great to look at the chemistry that they all have together on this show. So Rufus, and what I really enjoy when I watched this, which I was surprised that they actually showed on television, is when they're going back in time in America, like back during segregation and back during the Civil War. And a lot of times when they're going back in American history, Rufus is like, okay, here we go again. So you get to see how hard black people had it in American history. And the show doesn't shy away from that. I was surprised. And then you get to see how women had it hard too in American history. So you see the sexism and the racism when they go back in the past. So the only one who doesn't really get hassled is Wyatt, the white male. But it's really cool. There's one episode I really enjoy it where they go back and you see how their boss, Denise Christopher, they go back in time and they meet a young version of her, and they that whole episode is about her and her making the right choice, and about who she's in love with, and how there's some controversy in that because she comes from this traditional Indian family, and they, they have made an arranged marriage for her. And that whole episode was amazing. So I really enjoyed this time travel show. It's one of the better ones I've seen because they really sink their teeth into each episode, historically speaking. And it was just very cool to see. It really was. There's definitely some lessons to be learned. And I like how they didn't try to get PC and make it seem like everything was fine for certain people. Because, a lot of older American history in the 20th century, 19th century, things weren't that well if you weren't, if you were a female or if you were black. So it was cool to see that. But it was also cool to see how they were thwarting the bad guy, Garcia Flynn. Because you're like, why is this guy going back in time and trying to change everything? What's his evil plan? And eventually, Lucy catches up to Flynn, and she's like, why are you doing this? And he goes, because you told me to. She's like, what are you talking about? And I'll just say that Flynn's character is a lot more complicated than people realize. And you find out that he's actually, well, I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to give anything away, but the show has layers that work, and everyone does a great job with the acting. Everyone's characters are great. The camaraderie between Rufus, Wyatt, and Lucy is awesome. They're a great team. And then the supporting system. Connor Mason, who was the benefactor who got Rufus a scholarship and helped put Rufus on his way as an engineer. He has to wrestle with some demons in regards to what's going on and this ongoing battle they have with this. There's other powers to be at work. Like I said, this show is layered. Emma Whitmore, played by Annie Wershing, she's a good character to watch. And Suzanne Thompson, who plays Carol Preston, I believe, who is Lucy's mom, she's great as well. Yeah, she's a very complicated character. The ensemble cast is great on this show. They really are. They only did the 2 seasons. They finally gave us like a 2-hour episode to wrap up the series because I guess they're canceling it. But now, these days, they'll back in the day, they would cancel the show and you wouldn't get a send-off. They're just like, oh, it's done. Get over it. Now, when they cancel shows, a lot of times they'll at least give you a last episode to give you closure. And we got some really cool closure with this show. It's definitely worth watching. Hey, if I was like the Sci-Fi Network, I would have picked the show up. I would have just took it right from NBC and said, oh, you don't want it? We'll take it. And continued because it was that good of a show. Very enlightening, very informative. There's an episode on, what's his name? Blues legend. Oh, I'm looking at his face. What's his name? It's bothering me. Hold on. I'm going to cheat and look. Blues. Robert Johnson. Yep. There's that legend that he's this blues player who couldn't play a guitar until he sold his soul to the devil. So, there's that whole story about that. So you get to see an episode about him in Timeless, and Connor Mason's involved, and it's really good. Each episode was just a joy to watch. So, and I will be buying that show on DVD when both seasons are available. So yeah, so that was Timeless on NBC. Definitely a good show worth watching. Yeah, very informative, very much so. And after this break, we'll talk about Bosch and see if we can squeeze in another TV show to talk about. All right, so after this, don't go anywhere.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And we're back. Once again, you're listening to Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast. This is Captain Keith. And we're going to talk about Bosch. Bosch is an Amazon original Prime TV series. It's about an LAPD homicide detective who works to solve the murder of a 13-year-old boy while standing trial in federal court for the murder of a serial killer. So, and Bosch is already in, 4 seasons now, I believe? A great show. It's based off of some novels. Titus Welliver plays Harry Bosch. And he's a detective. It's also a war vet. And someone did his life story and made a movie off of it. Jamie Hector plays Jerry Edgar, his buddy. He calls him J. Edgar. That's his police partner. And Amy Aquino plays Lieutenant Grace Billets. And Lance Reddick plays Irving, who becomes the police commissioner. And Madison Lentz plays Harry Bosch's daughter, Maddie Bosch. So Bosch is a single, divorced dad, very devoted to his daughter, very devoted to her, spends more time with her. His daughter has been living overseas with his ex-wife and her new husband. And what's cool about this show is that Bosch is a cop who, very by the book, usually, not afraid to get in the, he's not afraid he's not really afraid of anything. I think he's more afraid of not doing the right thing. He's very principled, doesn't do a lot of talking. He seems to be the kind of guy that doesn't talk much unless he knows you and likes you and feels comfortable around you. And J. Edgar has that kind of vibe to his partner. J. Edgar's the one who's always wearing suits as a detective. He's got a, he has a fresh tie and a nice dress shirt in his desk drawer at work. Bosch is more of a, open shirt, no tie wearing kind of guy. Lots of tattoos. Everyday guy kind of look. What's interesting about this show is that you find out that one of the things that made Bosch a police officer, that seems like Bosch never knew who his father was. His mother was a prostitute who raised him, and she got killed, and her murder was never solved. That scarred him, and that made him want to, that feeling of helplessness at his mom being killed. I believe that turned a corner in his life and made him want to become a police officer so he could make sure that didn't happen to someone else's kid, when they lose their mom. So that's going on. And yeah, his mom was a prostitute, and when he talks about his mom and when he gets interviewed and he has to talk to the police psychiatrist because there's situation where he has to testify about a shooting that he was involved in and whether or not he followed procedure. Some people might think, okay, well, this guy's mom was a prostitute, so he might be kind of angry towards women and jaded. That's not Bosch at all. He loved his mom very much, misses her, of course. And he definitely has a very strong sense of what's right and what's wrong. He believes that, he doesn't like internal affairs, but at the same time, he dislikes even more corrupt cops. So if you're a corrupt cop, you're going to have a problem with Bosch. He doesn't get down that way. So Harry figures out eventually that his daughter is becoming a teenager. She's growing up. He would spend time with her when she was in town, but it gets to a point now where he realizes that he needs to spend more time with her. And she begins to realize that too, that she needs to spend more time with him because she starts to worry about him. Basically, what I like about the end of the first season is that you see the bond between he and his daughter grow a lot more. And you can see that she starts to take care of him and she makes a conscious decision because she's been living with her mom for all these years. And she'll see her dad whenever she wants, but she makes a conscious decision that she wants to live with her dad and go to high school and be with him. He's got more than enough room, and he's happy to do it. So what I liked about this TV show is that, of course, you got the usual who did it, who killed who, can Bosch find out? Some cops like Bosch, some cops don't like Bosch because they think that he plays by his own rules and that he thinks he's better than everybody, but he's not really trying to play by his own rules. But he's got no problem sticking his nose in maybe places that he should get kind of permission to do that first. But yeah, so he's kind of controversial in a sense. But now there's these two other guys on the force who are partners, and I love them. I forget their names. And they're funny. They're so funny. Let me go back there. Let's see. Detective Johnson and Detective Moore by Troy Evans and Gregory Scott Cummins. They're awesome. These two guys, they're like older cops. I think they've been on the force longer than Bosch and J. Edgar, and they always have verbal spats with they're always verbally jousting with each other. They're crazy about each other. But these two cops, I've never seen a police show like this one where these two cops, they're kind of like a Laurel and Hardy kind of characters. They're just real funny. And they riff on each other. They riff on Bosch and J. Edgar. They play pranks on each other. And this is the side of the police that you don't really see in TV, and especially in the serious drama series. So I like all of that in the ensemble cast. I enjoy watching that with them. But as I was saying, so what the cool thing about Bosch is that, like I said, by the end of the first season, you realize, or by the time you get into the second season, that his daughter's living with him now, and he's picking her up from school. So you get to see this male police officer raise his child, and like a lot of times you'll see police officers and they'll be divorced and they'll be bitter and disconnected, emotionally disconnected. Bosch isn't that way. He's got regrets, but even when you see him with his ex-wife, you can see that there's still love there. And you can see that he might have some regrets. He's not angry, but you can see there's still love there. And I like his interaction with his daughter, man. He's got to teach her how to drive. So it's little everyday things like that you don't see, that humanize people. I like that. I like Madison Lynch. She does a great job at playing his daughter. I like her character a lot. I like how she takes care of her dad, because it's just like, I feel like she moved in to stay with him because I feel like she was concerned that he needed somebody to take care of him because, he's just on his own. He wasn't complaining. He wasn't saying anything, but she saw that her dad needed her. And he was more than happy to have her there. It wasn't like, no, I don't want you. No, he's like, that'd be great. So it's good to see that father-daughter relationship build in the bond. And you see that build even more throughout this series. Bosch is a great cop. J. Edgar, he's got issues. He's good on the outside. He's got the suit. He's a handsome guy. He's doing his thing, but he is basically divorced from his wife. He's got 2 kids, and he kind of admits that, hey, this is my fault. But now J. Edgar's like, okay, well, I lost it, and now I realize I really had something really special, and I'd like to get it back. So he's got to figure out if he can get back with his ex-wife. So he wants to reconnect, and he loves his sons. They love him. So all these things are going on, and of course they still have to solve the different murders. And then the police chief who wants to become a commissioner, Irving, his relationship with Bosch is interesting. They're similar. They get along-ish, I guess. They have an understanding. I think the police commissioner would love for Bosch to fall in line more than what he does, but he has a respect for Bosch. He knows Bosch is not dirty. He knows he's not a dirty cop, and he knows that if he assigns Bosch to do a job, he's going to do it. So the show's interesting, and it's layered, and I like the different dynamics with the personalities of all the different characters and how they work together. And Amy Aquino, who plays Lieutenant Grace Billets, she wants to be the captain. She's applying for the captain position. You have to watch the show to find out whether or not she gets it. So she's Bosch, Harry Bosch, and J. Edgar's boss. She's the boss of that precinct, basically. And she's great. I like her role. She's a good boss. And she's got that I'm a tired cop look. But I love my job. I'm going to do it. But hey, everyone does their job really well. The cast is amazing. That's all I got to say. I really enjoy them all. So Amazon Prime again, original series Bosch. May have been one of the first original series. It might even be the first series Amazon Prime did. I'm not quite sure. But they're on 4 seasons. I think they're going on the 5th season now. So, but I can't wait. I love it. It's a great show. So I'm going to talk about one more thing. Roxanne. Yes, folks. Netflix did an original movie, and it's the biography of Roxanne Shante. And Nia Long plays her mom. And here's the synopsis. In the late 80s, early 1990s, the most feared battle MC in Queens, New York, was a fierce teenage girl with the weight of the world on her shoulders. At the age of 14, Lolita Roxanne Shante Gooden was well on her way to becoming a hip-hop legend as she hustled to provide for her family while defending herself from the dangers of the streets of the Queensbridge projects in New York City. So the movie opens up. You see this little girl come into the middle of this park, or middle of the park in front of the projects that she lives in, and people are taking money, and she's about to battle some MC, some teenage boy older than her, and she might be like maybe 10 or 12. And that's how it starts. So you find out when you watch this movie that people would pay money to have Roxanne Shante battle them in a freestyle. And this is before she got her record deal. This is crazy. This is the beginnings of hip hop, of rap. It wasn't even called hip hop yet. It was rap music in the early 80s. So, and I can remember as a kid, she was like the first female MC I remember hearing. I remember hearing Roxanne Shante, then I heard Real Roxanne, and then I heard Salt and Pepper, and then JJ Fad. And there were other female MCs and groups. But yeah, Shante, she sparked it. She really did. And when you watch the movie, it blows your mind because you see her mom is struggling. She's got like 3 or 4 daughters. Shante, I think, is the oldest. And their father, you know, they love their dad, and there's just a real moving scene where the girl's father's supposed to pick all of them up, and they all have their dresses on, and they're outside waiting for him on the bench, and he never comes. And of course, the mom comes and brings the girls back in the house, and she's a character, you know, she's special, but you know she loves her daughters, and once you know she plays Miss Peggy, Shantae's mom, and you know it's just crazy to watch, because you know Roxanne Shante, her hustle is, you know, people pay her to battle them as MCs, and She doesn't have a record deal. These people who are freestyling, they don't have one either. And one day, as she's on her way to do her laundry, Marley Marl, who's been making music in his apartment, asked her to come upstairs. So she's like, well, I'm doing laundry. She says, come on up, Shantae. So she comes on up. I think he might pay her some money. I think he gives her some cash. And she just does a freestyle for him over this beat. And the track wound up being Roxanne's Revenge. And the track picks up traction. They play it on the radio with Roxanne Shantae not even knowing it at first. And she gets a deal. She gets a record deal with the Cold Chillin' Records, Warner Brothers, and the Juice Crew. And the Juice Crew is like MC Shan, Roxanne Shantae, Biz Markie, Big Daddy Kane, and Marley Marl. Marley Marl went on later on to lace LL with some great music like Mama Said Knock You Out. So, and Shantae lives in Queensbridge, so you get to see her upcoming, her upbringing. And there's a love interest played by Mahershala Ali, and he's a great actor. But I'm gonna tell you, I didn't like him in this. He played a bad guy. Let me stop. Roxanne Shantae falls for the bad boy. I'll just say that. And then it's Mahershala Ali is that guy, and his name is, I think it's Alfonso. Hold on. Yeah, he plays Alfonso. No, excuse me. He plays Cross. Cross is his name. Mahershala Ali's name, and Roxanne is Cross. So he winds up, he's like the neighborhood drug dealer, and Shantae's not trying to hear him. And basically, he doesn't even notice her until she becomes famous for her rap, because people can hear her on the radio. So now that she's on the radio, now all of a sudden he likes her. So you have to see where that goes. And now, mind you, Shantae was, she's living in Queensbridge. Now, what's cool is that when you watch this movie, you see a little kid pop up to her named Nasir. Right? You know that's going, right? And he wants to battle rap her, and she looks at him like, little boy, you ain't ready. Come back when you're ready. So he's like, oh, okay. So by the time the movie ends, she comes across him again, and she's like, Nas. She goes like, Nasir, come here. Like, yeah. So, do you have anything for me? Have you done your homework? And he looks all shy, a cute little kid. He's like, yeah. She's like, well, let me hear it. And he starts rhyming. And she's like, good job. He goes, what do you call yourself? He's like, Nas. All right, Nasir, good job. So you get to see Nasir, and you find out Nas meets, new Shantae came up, and was influenced by her. She was the first Queensbridge rap star, her and MC Shan, So it's a great movie. It's a great biopic on, an important hip-hop icon. You don't hear about enough women in hip-hop, especially from back in the day, in the beginnings of hip-hop. She is the inspiration for people like Queen Latifah, Salt and Pepper, MC Light, so many others, and male MCs as well. So, Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys plays Attorney Schwartz, Adam Horowitz, in this biography. So even he had to get in on this. So this is, this was a great historical movie. It took a lot of decades for this to even be an idea that was going to manifest, and I'm glad that it did. Neil Long was great. Shantae Adams plays Shantae, Roxanne Shantae. She does a great job, and Mahershala Ali as Cross did a great job. Everyone, this was an excellent film. As soon as it's available on DVD, I must own it. I need to look into that. So this is a Netflix original movie, Roxanne. You'll love it. And it tells her story. And she's still here today. She had something to do with this movie, and I'm glad that she got to be alive to see a tribute to herself, because so many great artists get that when they're gone. And she got to smell those roses now, and I'm glad. So, and maybe she'll make some more music. So I hope she does. Well, good people of the planet Earth and the known universe, you've been listening to Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast. It's your Captain Keith. This was part 2 of the best of 2018 in television. This is going to be an epic trilogy, so part 3 will be the conclusion of the best of television from 2018. And I have all kinds of great new TV shows to talk about. Berlin Station and some other goodies for you. Yes, Wentworth, I got some things for you. Don't think I don't. I do. I haven't forgotten you. But I wanted to celebrate this past year of great television, from regular television to streaming television. Well, as usual, thank you, good people of the planet Earth and known universe, for listening, tuning in. I appreciate you all. I had a good time. I hope you did. And until next time, I'll see you somewhere out in space.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Television Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.